Shocking new video shows two large SUVs dropping off dozens of illegal migrants at the border in Hakumba, California. The group appearing to be mostly adult males, made up of people from China, Turkey, Brazil, and India. Customs and Border Patrol sources say that they were nearly 1,100 illegal crossings in the San Diego sector on Sunday, 97 Chinese nationals and 91 Turkish nationals. The House Homeland Security Committee expected to mark up articles of impeachment against DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas today, charging him with refusal to comply with the law and a breach of public trust. We are talking about this right now with South Carolina Congressman Russell Fry, a member of the House Oversight and Judiciary Committees. Congressman, this is very concerning, and I also spoke with one of my border sources the other day, and he told me that he's seeing activity shift further west, in other words, Arizona and San Diego. This is really where the poorest situations are now, worse than anybody thought. In addition to Texas, they're currently the top two sectors with the most illegal crossings, averaging 2,000 plus daily encounters a day. What is your reaction to what's taking place at the border right now?
I think it's shameful. I mean, you look. I mean, this matches what I've seen in Yuma, Arizona, personally. When we were down there, we saw individuals from China, Ukraine, Uzbekistan, Africa, Haiti, Central and South America, you name it. Every part of the globe was present at the border that particular night that we were there. And so it's really shameful that this is allowed to perpetuate. That the secretary is known for months, if not years, the problem, and he refuses to fix them.
Yeah, we're also seeing that they're catching illegal migrants on ranches and human smugglers. One source told me that they arrested a cartel smuggling guide this weekend who smuggled illegal immigrants into Texas, and then they realized that he was wanted for murder in Mexico. Okay, so he was arrested over the weekend. I don't understand why your colleagues in the Senate are allowing anybody to come through at this point after we've learned what we've learned. Is this Senate deal being negotiated going to live? I mean, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, said that the Senate border deal, any border shutdown authority that allows even one illegal crossing is a non-starter. Thousands each day is outrageous, Mike Johnson said. The number must be zero. However, Oklahoma Senator James Lankford says Republicans are rejecting the bipartisan border deal because it's an election year. That's what he said. This is a Republican. Watch this.
It is interesting. Republicans 4 months ago would not give funding for Ukraine, for Israel, and for our southern border because we demanded changes in policy. So we actually locked arms together and said, we're not going to give you money for this. We want a change in law. And now it's interesting, a few months later, when we're finally getting to the end, they're like, oh, just kidding. I actually don't want a change in law because it's a presidential election year.
And now the Oklahoma GOP is voting to censor Lankford for his role as the chief negotiator in these border talks, Congressman. Where's this going?
Well, I don't know what the Senate really, is doing. What I will say this is that Obama's former Homeland Security Secretary said that you reach a crisis point at 1,000 migrants a day. So under the negotiated deal, they're going to shut down the border at 5,000? This doesn't make any sense. And so this isn't Trump that's saying this. This is Obama's former Homeland Security Secretary saying 1,000 overwhelms the system. But here we're going to, because it's so bad, we're doing 10,000 a day. 5,000 is acceptable. I just think it's a non-starter. The House's position is pretty clear. I think that's where the American people are. H.R. 2, the Secure the Border Act, is where we need to be. It fixes the issue. It removes these ambiguities in the law that the Secretary has been allowed to abuse for years. Yeah. And it's time to get serious about the border. This doesn't solve the border crisis.
And Doug Collins, you made a really good point earlier. You said, why did they think they needed to start from scratch in the Senate? You had H.R. 2. So what's the deal with starting from scratch and coming up with this idea of 5,000 a day, Doug?
Yeah, I mean, that's the point. And Russell, I think, Congressman, I think you understand this as well. You have a bill, the purpose is to negotiate a bill. And when you start at 5,000, I mean, that's so far over the what used to be called extreme. Jay Johnson, as you just said. The question I have is there the animosity that's built up there that Republicans don't just want a law, a bad law, they want a law that actually fixes it. I think that's where Senator Lankford may be off a little bit. Is that the feeling of the House right now? It's not just any law, it's got to be a good law.
Well, it's got to be a law that fixes the problem, right? I mean, we know right now that the president has the authority to secure the border under the same laws that President Trump made the securest border that we've ever had. So it's time to get back to the basics, and H.R. 2, by every estimation, will fix the problem.
Let me switch gears, ask you about the Oversight Committee, because Eric Schwerin, one of Hunter Biden's former business partners, is going to appear before the House Oversight Committee for a deposition today. Schwerin was considered Hunter's point person for their Chinese business deals and was even called the money guy. He also served as a financial advisor to Joe Biden and helped him file his tax returns. It's interesting that he was a financial advisor for Joe Biden and also the money guy for Hunter Biden's deals.
No, I think that's where the committee is going to go. Is Mr. Schwerin was involved in the formation of some of these corporate entities. He's been intricately linked to the Bidens for years. He's visited the White House and the Naval Observatory numerous times. There are hundreds, at least 50 emails that we know about right now, where he has communicated with Joe Biden's fake alias. And so there's a lot of questions. Obviously, last week we had Rob Walker and another associate in, and this is part of our continuing effort to really kind of understand the structure of the Biden family money peddling schemes.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there were also direct emails between Joe Biden and Eric Schwerin, and Joe Biden was using a pseudonym. Your colleague, James Comer, told me there were about 50 emails back and forth. So how does Joe Biden make the case that he had nothing to do with his son's business deals if he's emailing the money guy directly?
Well, I don't think that he can make the case. I mean, they continue to kind of bury their head in the sand about the reality that they find themselves in. But the facts are, at least what we know right now, is that he was very involved in this family's financial problems.
All right, we will leave it there, Congressman. We'll be watching your work there. Thank you very much for being here, Russell Fry. We appreciate your time in D.C.